locked into the And Leo podcast. My name is Josh, making that intersection between faith and animation and delivering those redemptive analogies you would come to know and love. And I am happy to be back with you this week. And why not understand that I'm the only one that's happy? Well, unfortunately, Rebecca is out sick this week with the flu. So prayers for her. She really wanted to be here, but she had chills and nausea. And I said, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. So you get a Josh-only episode this week. So before we get too far into it, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and ring that bell for notifications so that you are notified every time we post a new video. This week, though, it's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to do what we call a faceless video, as it's known in the YouTube sphere. So you'll see a lot of clips from the animated special that we'll be talking about today, and some B-roll here and there. So it is the holiday season, and you know what that means. That is right, it's time for our Christmas series. Every year during the month of December, we do our Christmas series where we talk about our favorite animated Christmas movies, some old, some new, and sometimes we'll focus more just on the content of the animated Christmas movie or animated Christmas TV special, and other times we'll focus more heavily on the spiritual side of that, though we try to do a balance of both. So since you get a Josh-only episode this week, I wanted to go ahead and discuss one of my favorite Christmas TV specials ever. I watch this almost every year. I grew up with this series as a kid and still love it to this day, and that is Hey Arnold. The Hey Arnold Christmas episode, Arnold's Christmas, is more than just a holiday cartoon. It's a heartfelt story about hope, sacrifice, and restoration. A story that reminds us what Christmas is truly about. If you're not familiar with the Hey Arnold Christmas episode, or it's been a while, let me set the scene. Arnold and the boarding house residents go ahead and draw for Secret Santa. And Arnold draws Mr. Huynh, a soft-spoken, kind-hearted man who lives with the others in the boarding house. When Arnold asks Mr. Huynh what he wants for Christmas, we get one of the most gut-wrenching backstories ever told in a children's show. Years ago, during the Vietnam War, Mr. Huynh was forced to make an impossible choice to hand over his infant daughter Mai to soldiers so she could escape to safety. Since that time, Mr. Huynh has lived in the city that she was supposedly taken to with hope to one day being reunited with his daughter. Here in the story, Arnold decides that the perfect gift for Mr. Huynh is to track down Mai with his best friend Gerald by his side. But here's where the story gets complicated. Arnold and Gerald need help from Mr. Daly, who is a government worker, and I believe it's called the public records or something of that nature, and he may be the only one with access to the information of Mai's whereabouts. Mr. Daly agrees to help him, but only on one condition, and that is for them to complete his whole Christmas shopping list. Now, of course, Mr. Daly's reluctant at first, and who wouldn't be, trusting two kids with $300 to get all your Christmas shopping done. Now, let's pause there for just a second. Mr. Daly gives two kids $300 to do all the Christmas shopping for his whole family, not just a couple gifts. This is a long list that we're shown in the episode. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm struggling to believe that $300 could cover Christmas shopping for anyone. 90s, yeah, it's more realistic, but what are you buying? I mean, if you're buying Nancy Spumoni's for no boots, like Helga wants, that's going to be your whole budget right there. But I digress. As I said in the beginning, one of the main themes for this episode is hope. And Arnold, countless times, again and again, despite all odds, he always has hope. And that's one reason why hope is one of the main central themes, is what has Arnold pressing on to complete this task given to him by Mr. Bailey, is what drives Mr. Huynh year after year, time after time, to keep searching for his daughter. In the Bible, we're given a message in the book of Isaiah 9:6, of the greatest hope, which reads, "For to us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulders, and his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace." And Arnold in this episode becomes a peace bringer in Mr. Huynh's story, much like how Christ came to bring peace to a weary world. And that brings us to restoration. At its core, this episode is all about restoration. Mr. Huynh lost years with his daughter, years he can never get back. But through Arnold's efforts, we see the beginning of that restoration. In Joel 2:25, we're reminded of that restoration when we read, "I'll restore to you the years that the swarming locust has eaten." And this should also be read as God restoring your brokenness or what's been taken from you. And our restoration isn't always immediate, and it isn't always easy. In this scenario, for Mr. Huynh, it took decades. When his daughter was taken, it took, I think Mr. Huynh said, something like 10 or 20 years for him to get out of Vietnam. At that time, his daughter is already full grown. So that's a lot of time lost with family, especially when what it appears to be Mai is his only family. And then going back to the peacemaker analogy for Arnold, it took braving holiday chaos and trusting that his efforts would pay off. Again, him being that peace bringer, that part of that restoration. Now, don't worry, I didn't forget our other main focus of the episode, and that is Helga Pataki. Helga, if you aren't aware of the character or of the series, Helga is Arnold's bully and also his secret admirer. In this episode, Helga's story is more so like comic relief. She spends most of the episode obsessing over a pair of Nancy Spumoni snow boots, which is the ultimate status symbol, as everyone in the city wants them. Mostly every woman or girl in the city wants them. And another part of her story is finding the best, flashy, expensive gift for Arnold that will make him pine after her, or so she hopes. But in a surprising yet not surprising twist, Helga also has a part in this whole restoration story, where she sacrifices those snow boots to help Arnold succeed in his quest to reunite Mr. Huynh with his daughter. A small act, though an important act, of selflessness plays a huge role in the story's resolution. And Helga's role in this reminds me of John 15:13, where it says, "Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends." So Helga may not have laid down her own life literally, but for Helga, giving up those snow boots may count as the same thing. And it's Helga's part in this story where, when all hope seems lost, Arnold was not able to get the Nancy Spumoni snow boots on Mr. Bailey's Christmas shopping list. Helga runs to that public records government office, hands over the boots to Mr. Bailey, and begs him to keep his end of the bargain. And on Christmas morning, Mr. Huynh is reunited with his daughter. Now, what are the lessons in this episode? First, hope does require action. Arnold just doesn't sit back and wish for things to get better. He takes steps to make it happen. I feel in life that we tend to sit back on the sidelines when things are going wrong, or we see so much injustice in the world, and we think, well, we just need to, hope and pray that things get better. Well, prayer works, though actions do speak louder than words. You're going to have to take a step of faith, a step literally, to make things happen in certain situations. Secondly, restoration often requires sacrifice, whether it's giving up your time, your resources, or, in Helga's case, snow boots. True restoration often comes at a cost. And finally, this episode reminds us to trust in God's timing. Mr. Huyhn's reunion with his daughter Mai didn't happen overnight, but when it did, it was perfect and magical. And by gosh, as Gerald says,
well, I guess miracles can happen after all.
Yeah, but how did it happen, Gerald? I mean, it doesn't make sense.
Don't try to make sense out of it, Arnold. A miracle's a miracle, and that's all there is to it. Maybe you got a Christmas angel looking out for you or something.
Christmas angel. Yeah, maybe.
And that's why, to me, Hey Arnold is more than just a holiday special. It's a story about hope, sacrifice, and the beauty of restoration. So this holiday season, let's bring hope into the lives to those around us. Let's trust in God's promises, and let's remember that even in the waiting, God is always working. So I want to thank everyone for listening to my ramblings for this episode. No, it's a little bit shorter than usual, but when talking about an animated TV special, these are usually a little bit of the shorter ones. But until next time, keep those halos shiny and stay holy, my friends.